From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Overtime Podcast.
From the Fox 8 studios in New Orleans is the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast. I'm Vasilios. That is Sean Fazende. Remember to like, subscribe, rate, and review. You can find us wherever you listen to and watch your podcast. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube, hit the little bell notification button there and subscribe. You get notified whenever we upload a new podcast. Sean, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It is a good Friday, isn't it?
It is, and we are heading into week 4 of the NFL season. A lot of stuff going on today. A very lengthy injury report for both the Saints and the Buccaneers. But the name that stands above most, Derek Carr getting some limited action today in practice. Trending positive?
Well, first off, happy Friday, as you mentioned. It's a football Friday, and this is an interesting weekend up ahead, a fun weekend up ahead as we look forward to what could be coming in the college and professional ranks. But true. I would have thought by today we would have had a pretty good feeling on where everything stood with Derek Carr and the likelihood that he would or would not be playing. We didn't get that clarification because he didn't practice Wednesday, but like I told you, I was out there.
Yep.
He was in great spirits. He was moving around. He was talking. He was high-fiving. He was doing all that stuff, talking to his coaches. Then he came and talked to us on Wednesday, and I said at the time 50-50, but
weird.
I think there needs to be a certain things he has to clear before the organization can give him a go. I said 50-50 at the time, but I still was like leaning towards Jameis in that scenario. Thursday, I didn't practice, leaning a little more towards Jameis. Then he practices today on a limited basis. He did some first-team stuff. He was throwing the ball. I mean, is he going to go? I don't know, but I mean, what do you think? Because I don't really know where to stand, but this is real. I mean, this is not him. This is not them playing a game with Tampa Bay. This is not him trying to pull the gamesmanship thing and trying to trick Tampa Bay. That's just not – Tampa Bay knows them too well. That's not going to work. That doesn't – Derek Carr is not that kind of guy. Dennis Allen is not that kind of coach. Let's make sure that while the media is here, let's have you throw a few passes. That way Tampa Bay thinks you might play. That's just not – they're all business. And that's just playing a game. That's just wasted energy, especially when you talk about a quarterback whose reps are valuable. Those reps are valuable. If he takes them or he does not, those reps are valuable for whoever takes those reps. So this isn't fake.
Right.
This isn't fake. This is real. And if he practiced today, he's doing it because he is getting healthier. And look, you can go back and look, and he alluded to this in his press conference on Wednesday. You can go back and check Derek Carr's history. He has a history of healing fast. He has a history of battling through injury. He has a history of being durable and not missing games. Whether or not that's just he's got one of those, knock on wood types of NFL frames that just it lends itself to recovering quickly. Maybe he was one of the blessed ones, or it's just a mentality. I'm not missing from my guys. He's got a history of this, so it cannot be discounted. And maybe that's a long way of me saying I think this guy is forcing the Saints coaches to say, you can't play today. I think if it's up to him, he's playing. Yeah. And I was a little surprised he practiced today. I was expecting it to be kind of DMP, and see how it goes Saturday into Sunday. And probably by Saturday, you know what's going to happen. But if he practiced today on a limited basis, but he was able to throw the ball down the field in a little bit of a window the media was able to see, according to reports, then he's doing stuff. He's doing physical stuff. I didn't expect him to pick up to throw a ball in the media session that we were able to see. And yet, here he is doing that. That's a significant stride from where they were Monday morning when they woke up from the road trip from Green Bay. By the way, how did they lose to Green Bay? The further I get away from that game, how did the Saints lose to Green Bay? But that's neither here nor there. We've moved on from that. But look, man, I think if it's up to Derek Carr, he plays. And I think right now the decision Dennis Allen is wrestling with is percentage-wise, where is he? How much better is he going to be by Sunday? Because clearly if he was one way on Monday and by Friday he's already throwing, it would stand to reason that by another day of Saturday and then Sunday, he would get incrementally better to the point of where he could or could not play. It'd be up to the coaches to decide. But I think Carr is saying, if you don't want me to play, that's fine, but you're not going to hear it from me that I can't play.
Right.
I think he's saying, I will play for my team and I am ready to go. You give me the okay, I'm on the field.
Well, all that being said, I know we heard it from DA, we heard it from Carr himself that there's no real risk of re-injury and everything like that. But should the Saints coaching staff risk anything by putting Carr in there to start the game when you have Jameis Winston, who's super familiar with this system already?
It's a great point, and that's what they have to wrestle with right now. And I've gone back and forth with this, but I go back to 2 points. One, you made a substantial investment in Derek Carr. You believe in Derek Carr. From the top of the organization on down, they believe in Derek Carr. They believe Derek Carr is the guy to get them where they want to go. They do. So if your guy says, I'm ready, all these games matter. And it's not just a Week 4 matchup. It's a Week 4 matchup within the division. And if you look back just to last year when they blew the game to Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football, that game mattered. That game mattered. If they win that game, they're probably winning the NFC South. They lost that game. They did not. So there is an urgency that's probably bigger inside the building than maybe we're viewing on the outside. Because on the outside, well, this is Week 4. I guess what they'll play will technically be October 1st, but we're still in September right now as we speak. Still early, a lot of time to make it up. And I even said that earlier in the week, but as I started kind of getting it more and more into it, and I was like, you know what? They all matter. It's a divisional game. And I go back to 2019? Breeze goes down. Teddy comes in, goes 5-0. The game where Breeze comes back, there was a game against the Cardinals, and then there was a bye week. So they could have let Breeze sit out for that game, and he got the bye week and then come back fresh from the bye week. But I remember Sean Payton saying vividly, all these games matter. And then, that's certainly the mentality that they took. So I believe DA is weighing his options right now, and I think he knows Derek Carr wants to play. And I think he knows it's going to be on him to say, do I save him from himself and not risk it for 1 week? We can survive. Or do I say, you know what? He's ready to go. I believe in this guy. And look, we need to win. We need to win against a divisional opponent on Sunday. So all those factors factor in. So we still sit here with intrigue on this Friday. We don't really have a clear-cut answer on who actually plays starting quarterback for the Saints on Sunday.
So this next topic we're getting to, buried with all this Carr news this week, Alvin Kamara's return from his 3-game suspension to start the season, coming back this week. How big of an impact does he have in this game against Tampa Bay, in the Saints team that has kind of struggled to find its footing in the run game so far?
I think his presence matters. Even if he doesn't have a big game statistically, his presence will matter. You have to game plan Alvin Kamara. You have to game plan a very versatile, very dynamic player who's going to be fresh. You have to, when he is on the field, there's a little bit of I don't know what's coming. Is he in the backfield? Is he lined up out wide? Is he going in motion? Is he in the backfield with another back? Is there a lot of things you can do? And if you're a defense, you have to game plan for that. And we've already talked about how you split Alvin Kamara out wide, that could throw a blitz situation off. You have him in the backfield. For instance, how many times have we seen Adam Prentice solo in the backfield? I know what I'm thinking. If I'm a defense, what am I thinking? A pass is coming. Alvin Kamara, it's totally different.
You can't tell.
It could be a pass. It could be a run. It could be a different you don't know what type of pass it could be. He could be standing the block. He could be running a swing pass, running a wheel, running an angle route, whatever the case may be. So just his presence is going to make a difference. Mm-hmm. Now, look, Tampa Bay has had some success against him. We know that. But to me, Kamara's back. I don't care if he's getting 1 yard a carry and he's not getting much in the passing game. He's got to get 20 touches. Yeah. He has to get 20 or more touches in this game. He just has to. And if that doesn't happen, there's going to be that's a serious issue because he's been waiting long enough, and the formula for success when he's in the game. So to me, Kamara's got to get at least 20 touches in this game. So I think, what does he do? He opens up a lot. Now the key is, does his presence help that offensive line? I think it will, even if it's just for hey, they can't blitz as much when he's in the game, or, what you do formationally causes a defense to rethink being a little more aggressive offensive or on their defense. I think that certainly matters because you're going up against the Tampa Bay team, and you'll see in the film study on Sunday, they like to bring pressure from all over. They like to bring guys off the edge and drop guys out. They like to bring nickel corners off the edge and drop the two middle guys that are standing up over that look like they're coming out into the flat or out into the hook curl. So this is like they do stuff from all over the place. It's not easy to do. So if you have a guy like Kamara that can slow that down a little bit, it's all worth it. So, yeah, he matters. Huge in this game. It's a shame because we've been talking about this all week had the Derek Carr situation not popped up.
All right, so let's, as we usually do, as is customary for our Friday episodes, we're going to talk about some local college ball. LSU traveling to Ole Miss this weekend. LSU got the win, a nice close win against Arkansas last week. Ole Miss coming off a loss to Alabama. What do you see in this matchup, and do you think LSU can stack another win onto the season?
I do, and I think they do win. I do think it's going to be another tough game. It's not going to go exactly like Arkansas. They were lucky to beat Arkansas. Let's just be frank about this. They won, and they celebrated, but Arkansas scores an early touchdown on those trips inside the red zone. I think they might beat LSU in that game, and that's something to really consider when you talk about where Arkansas and LSU, where they are as programs. So that's something to really watch. What I hope happens is LSU can come out and start fast. I think that's key. Because if they start off slow and they stumble, especially offensively, I think Lane Kiffin is, despite some struggles with their offense at times, I think Lane Kiffin can scheme things up to where if they're given a few chances early on, they're going to not settle for field goals. They could probably get into the end zone a couple of more times than Arkansas did, especially if they get inside that red zone. So I think Jaden Daniels in the offense, they have to start fast. I don't know because Jaden's got an incredible ability to flip the switch, an incredible ability for where one completion, last week it was the Brian Thomas completion, just puts him in the zone and he is there for the rest of the game. It's really remarkable. The trick is, but he was able to flip the switch and win because when he was figuring out early in the game, the defense kept things at bay. But we know LSU has a suspect secondary, and I didn't like their pass rush last week either. I thought it was a little suspect as well. So I think LSU can win. Fast start is the key.
All right, and heading uptown for brunch tomorrow at 11 a.m., Tulane Green Wave hosting UAB. What do you make of this game? Because you look at UAB, and could this be a trap game at 1-3? They haven't scored less than 21 points this season. What should Tulane expect heading into this game?
Well, Tulane's defense is legit at all three levels. UAB's got a big name at head coach, obviously, in Trent Dilfer, and he's going to get those guys to play. He's a passionate guy. We all know that. But Tulane's better. Tulane is better. Early start. Maybe he takes a page out of Brian Kelly's book from a couple weeks ago when they had the Mississippi State 11 a.m. start. And they did the whole stretching early and then did their practices with the team periods came earlier, all that kind of stuff. But thoroughly disappointed if Tulane loses this game. Even if it's an ugly win, just take the win and get started with conference play on a roll because, you look at the schedule and you look how they're playing. Got Pratt back and got a defense. Name the loss. When's the next loss coming? I don't know. They got some tough opponents, no doubt, but I think they can win every single game on their schedule from here on out. But it starts this Saturday, obviously, against UAB.
And any last thoughts as we head into this weekend?
Yes, I want to swing back to Derek Carr for just 1 second because missed this earlier as we were talking. So I think this is an important point to bring up because when he got injured, there was talk about missing time. I immediately went back to Drew Brees, and I thought he missed a game. He came back that next week, 2015, whatever it was. The fact that Derek Carr has gone from hospital to throwing in a 4-day window, to me, leads. He may not play this week. It may be Jameis Winston. But to me, this is a one-game absence at the absolute most for Derek Carr. I think this is the only – if he does not play, and I still think there's a strong chance he does, but if he does not, this is only a one-game absence for Derek Carr. Also this, if he plays, the organization is saying whatever percentage he is, like we alluded to earlier, he gives the Saints the best chance to win. which means they're basically saying a healthy Jameis Winston does not give them the best chance to win. An 85, 90, whatever percentage Derek Carr is gives them the best chance to win, which means if they do not win with Derek Carr, what's the one thing you can't say? He was hurt. Because you had a healthy backup where the drop-off, it's not like going from, who's Burrow's backup? Is it Browning? Jake Browning? Something like that?
I don't even know, and that's the point.
That's a massive drop-off. Jameis has started games in this league. So if you look, you're the coaching staff, you believe in your guy, and if that is indeed the case, and he goes and they lose, and it's obvious he's not right, that can't be an excuse as to why they lost because you had a capable backup. So all those things can kind of they're just little sort of layers to the decision that's coming. But I think ultimately, what do you think? Honestly, what do you think? He's trending upward.
He is, but I mean, there's 2 days of DNPs, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it would be unprecedented to see him start this game. And I mean, I understand with Kamara coming back, you might be able to take some of the load off Carr for a little bit. But I still think, and I think we alluded to this last time, I think 100% of Jameis is better than 80 to 85% of Derek Carr. And I mean, that's just where I stand right now. So if it really came down to it, I think Jameis should see the playing time.
I wonder if matchup matters because they really played Jameis well last year, Tampa Bay. I wonder if that comes into play.
To be fair, he was hurt.
He was hurt, but he threw 3 picks, and there were 3 bad picks. It wasn't like 3 kind of bang type, inch here, inch there type picks. There were 3 bad picks. I don't know, and I'm still at the I don't know phase. I wish I had more of a concrete answer. The only difference for me today is, I feel like Carr's getting closer, much closer to starting. Whether or not he's actually back on Sunday remains to be seen, but I really don't know what to think of this. I've been asked like 20 times, and I'm like, I just don't know. So stay tuned. We'll find out, I guess, on Sunday, or maybe I'm going to try to dig a little bit more before we get before the actual game on Sunday to see if I can figure it out. But stay tuned. It should be fun.
Classic NFC South matchup. 3 teams in the NFC South are 2-1. The results of this game could determine who sits alone atop the NFC South. For Sean Fazende, I'm Vasilios. This has been the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast. We'll catch you guys next time.